OU was under fire as they continue their search for a new LGBT center director. After the closing of the GM plant in Lordstown, Ohio, employees are not the only ones suffering. And in sports, the Ohio women's basketball team gears up to take on Northwestern in the NIT quarterfinals. Newswatch starts right now.
Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
Good evening, I'm Steven Hernandez. Thanks for joining us. The Ohio University's LGBT Center is under watch from a national organization that ranks universities on the LGBTQ friendliness. Campus Pride is looking into the termination of former LGBT Center Director Delphine Bautista and determining how the administration's actions could impact their ranking. The organization's director, Shane Windmeyer, says he received complaints about Bautista's removal, as well as OU Vice President of Diversity and Inclusion, Gigi Secuban, for using incorrect pronouns when speaking up to students frequently. In the midst of all this, however, Elliot Director, one of 4 candidates to fill the vacant position of Ohio University's LGBT Center Director, spoke at a public forum meeting today. He expressed his opinions about Campus Pride's ranking system and what he could do if OU Center fell in the ranking.
I think that that's important, but having a higher ranking isn't necessarily my priority. It's serving the students the best that I can and making sure that the center serves the students. I think in the end that's going to net you higher rankings.
Director was most recently the program coordinator for the Multicultural Resource Center at the LGBTQ Student Life Coordinator at Oberlin College. A Nelsonville resident charged with committing sexual assault on a minor is being transferred to the Athens County Common Pleas Court. The Athens Messenger reports now 18-year-old Brandon Humphrey pleaded innocent in November to a number of felony charges, including rape and sexual battery to a minor, as well as a misdemeanor charge of unlawful sexual conduct with a different minor. Athens County Prosecutor Keller Blackburn says a hearing in the Common Pleas Court is scheduled for Tuesday. 3 Cleveland men who spent decades in prison for a murder that they didn't commit will be allowed to proceed with a civil lawsuit. The 6th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals said yesterday that a federal judge wrongfully dismissed the lawsuits filed by Ricky Jackson, Kwame Ajamu, and Wiley Bridgman against the city of Cleveland and the 4 detectives involved in their arrests and convictions. Bridgman and Jackson were released from prison in 2014 after their witness, now an adult, retracted his 1975 testimony. Ajamu was paroled in 2003. Law-abiding Ohioans aged 21 and older could soon be able to carry hidden firearms without a permit or background check. 16 states already allow this, but currently Ohioans need to pass a background check and receive 8 hours of training to obtain a permit. Ohio already allows for residents to openly carry firearms without a permit. House Bill 174 is already supported by close to half of all Ohio Republicans, and pro-gun lawmakers are hopeful that the bill will pass.
From the Newswatch Weather Center, I'm forecaster Miranda Mock. You may have noticed spring has sprung for the area, with today no different. A high of 61 degrees, overcast skies, humidity of 48%, and winds from the southwest at 5 miles per hour. All across the region, no different story. 57 degrees in Columbus, 61 degrees in Newark, 58 in Cambridge, and 69 degrees in Ripley with our warm spot. 66 in Ironton, 66 in Jackson, and 63 in Marietta. Coming up on Newswatch, a chance of thunderstorms, warmer temperatures, and a look at the week ahead, all coming up in my full forecast. Stephen?
As always, thanks for the weather update. The General Motors plant in Lordstown, Ohio has been closed for several weeks now. The plant had almost 1,500 workers at its height, but now after closing down for good, those laid off workers are not the only ones suffering.
Always a little more somber, soon a little emptier.
This is where their home is. This is where their families are, their friends. And just being that young and having to leave all that is, for a child that young to understand, It's difficult.
Intervention specialist at Lordstown Elementary, Alyssa Brookbank, says the hardest part is seeing the little ones sad and confused, wondering why they are separated from their families, now learning how to cope. Brookbank says she's doing her best to keep hope high.
There has been a lot of fear that the school will close. And we want families and the community to know that we are not going anywhere. We are staying here, we're staying strong for our students.
The campaign Lordstown Strong kicked off this week. Service, tenacity, respect, optimism, never giving up. It's a response to families' concerns about the future of the district and uncertainty on the minds of many.
We've just been trying to help them as a staff to get through these times and let them know it's okay to be upset. It's okay to be frustrated.
Part of the launch showcasing new additions to the next school year, like extra college prep courses and before and after care expansion for preschoolers. The district already made cost reductions for families during earlier shift cuts, taking away pay to play and classroom fees, and the addition of a clothing and food pantry. Board President Bill Catlin says the district is cutting $200,000 from its budget through job reassignments and attrition, preparing for a drop in student enrollment, but not a drop off the map.
We're not going anywhere. We're staying strong, and we're here for our students and their families.
While it's hard to say what will happen inside these walls, those here are staying strong, Lordstown strong, for the little ones.
We just want to give our students, our families, and the community a peace of mind and confidence to let them know that the school is not going anywhere.
A former Kentucky firefighter is on probation after being convicted of intentionally burning down an empty Crofton building. 19-year-old Dakota Oglesby was sentenced Wednesday to 5 years of probation. She pleaded guilty in December to arson and burglary and is one of 4 former firefighters convicted of the crime. Former Fire Chief Jeremy Marlar and former firefighter Glenn McGee were convicted in a trial last year over the incident and sentenced to 10 years in prison. Ex-firefighter Dylan Hodge pleaded guilty with Oglesby last year. All 4 are involved in a civil case by the family who owned the building. The mayor, police chief, and a former clerk of a West Virginia city are being charged with embezzlement over the city's response to a massive 2016 flood. A complaint filed this morning alleges that Richwood Mayor Chris Drennan was paid around $45,000 extra without council approval to help the city recover from the flood. Police Chief Lloyd Allen Koger is accused of using government purchasing cards for personal transactions, and former clerk Abigail McClung is accused of wrongfully paying herself for unused vacation time. Coming up, we'll see how lawmakers are supposedly moving on from Robert Mueller's report a week after its submission. And President Trump is in Florida with some harsh warnings about the United States southern border. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
Is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at WOUB.org. And thank you.
This is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
Welcome in, Hardwood fans. Now, as you know, we've already aired our season finale where you see all these great people behind me who made our all-hero and all-future teams. But that doesn't mean our coverage stops. There are still a lot of teams in the playoffs and games left to be played. So if you want to stay up to date with all that and all the other TVC action, then go follow our social media. Like us on Facebook, add us on Snapchat, and follow us on Twitter. And always remember to be heroic.
I loved Ken Burns' series on the Civil War. It was deeply impacting. I love history. To have those stories told through these letters, through stories of love and loss, it rewrote the book on how to tell a story. When television was invented, there were a lot of people who had dreams about what it could do. I think PBS still aspires for and often succeeds at reaching the highest ideals of what television could be.
One week after the Justice Department received Robert Mueller's report on his 22-month investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election, both Democrats and Republicans say they're moving on to topics like healthcare and immigration. But their actions indicate they're not ready to let it all go just yet. Karen Kaifa looks at what's next from Washington.
How are we doing on the southern border?
President Trump turning his attention to immigration, tweeting a threat to close the U.S. border with Mexico next week and putting health care front and center.
Obamacare is a disaster. Right now it's losing in court.
But at a rally in Michigan Thursday night, Trump showed the Russia probe isn't far from his mind.
This was nothing more than a sinister effort to undermine our historic election victory and to sabotage the will of the American people.
Speaker Nancy Pelosi also eager to turn her caucus to issues that boosted Democrats to a House majority in the 2018 midterms, especially with the Trump administration's recent moves to strike down Obamacare. But the party also feels they have a constitutional obligation to look at the full report and the evidence to draw their own conclusions about certain events during the 2016 campaign, even if Attorney General Bill Barr says Special Counsel Robert Mueller found no criminal conspiracy.
We're obviously willing to concede today that it wasn't a criminal conspiracy, but remember that none of these activities were appropriate.
Barr on Friday said the DOJ will have the Mueller report ready to release by mid-April, if not sooner, in a letter to Judiciary Committee chairs. Barr also offered to testify after the report is released, suggesting May 1st for the Senate committee, May 2nd for the House. In Washington, I'm Karen Kaifa.
The Trump administration says problems are brewing along the southern border. Officials say enforcement agencies are stretched thin by the huge number of asylum seekers. Aid groups say they are struggling to meet the needs of those detained at the border. John Lawrence reports.
President Trump calling the situation at the U.S.-Mexico border a national emergency, and he's taking action.
And I'm telling you right now, we will close the border.
The Department of Defense is looking for sites to build new barriers between the two countries, according to two DoD officials.
Now think of it. Walls work, folks. We need the wall.
The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers says the goal is to build 46 miles of fencing near El Paso, Texas, and 11 miles at Yuma, Arizona.
We're going to be showing you vast sections of brand new, beautiful wall.
As plans to boost the barrier move forward, there's another concern within the administration. Border Patrol facilities are bursting at the seams, and so are non-governmental agencies that have opened their doors to migrants.
We're already stretched. 100 would take us above and beyond the number we've ever experienced.
Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen is calling on Congress to make legal changes that would allow U.S. officials to deport migrant children more quickly. Nielsen says a potential overflow of children in DHS custody represents our most acute humanitarian risk. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Right now, President Trump is in Florida touring Lake Okeechobee, meeting with local officials to work out a budget in an effort to help restore the Everglades. But that hasn't taken his mind off the situation at the border. Trump says his administration is prepared to close off the southern border if the situation worsens.
We have right now 2 big caravans coming up from Guatemala. Massive caravans walking right through Mexico. So Mexico's tough. They can stop them, but they chose not to. Now they're going to stop them. And if they don't stop them, we're closing the border. They'll close it, and we'll keep it closed for a long time. I'm not playing games. Mexico has to stop it.
Physicians look to limit access to sugar drinks for children. That story is still ahead.
Coming up in my full forecast, a look at thunderstorms for later in the week and warmer temperatures. All that coming up in my full forecast and more. But right now, a look at stocks.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at woub.org. And thank you.
Welcome in, Hardwood fans. Now, as you know, we've already aired our season finale where you see all these great people behind me who made our all-hero and all-feature teams. But that doesn't mean our coverage stops. There are still a lot of teams in the playoffs and games left to be played. So if you want to stay up to date with all that and all the other TVC action, then go follow our social media. Like us on Facebook, add us on Snapchat, and follow us on Twitter. And always remember to be heroic.
What are you doing?
Possibilities. Your day is filled with them.
Reach up, energy in the fingertips, collapse. TV, play Downton Abbey.
And PBS helps everyone discover theirs. Anytime, anywhere.
Up in the sky, you can see it.
PBS, we're with you for life.
PBS had a special on Pearl Harbor, and once Landon started watching the show about the Arizona, he completely became fascinated.
That's Donald Stratton, and that's me.
And then his Christmas wish this year was to meet Donald Stratton, one of the survivors from the Arizona.
So good to see you, buddy.
Everything that Landon has learned from PBS, it's immeasurable.
This is for you.
Thank you, big guy.
He is living proof of the effect that PBS has had on his life.
From the Newswatch Weather Center, I'm forecaster Miranda Mock. Spring has sprung for the area, and no different right now. 61 degrees in Athens, overcast skies, humidity at 48%, winds southwest 5 miles per hour. All across the region, you can see 61 degrees in Newark, 57 in Columbus, 60 degrees in Chillicothe, Ironton at 66 degrees, and our warm spot, Ripley, at 69 degrees. Tonight in Athens, 53 degrees, cloudy, chance of showers as we move throughout the night, and winds 3 to 6 miles per hour. Across the region tonight, 53 degrees in Cambridge, 53 in New Martinsville, 54 in Marietta, 54 in Ripley, and 53 down in Ironton. So overall, pretty static temperatures tonight. Tonight, we can see that a stationary front is moving into the area, bringing that chance of rain that I just talked about. Tomorrow, a low pressure system will move into the area, also bringing a higher chance of rain for tomorrow. For Saturday, you can expect 54 degrees and a 17% chance of rain at 8 a.m. By 12 p.m., 64 degrees, 32% chance of rain, and by 4 p.m., 67 degrees, 83% chance of rain and thunderstorms. So be on the lookout for that tomorrow. Saturday in Athens, 68 degrees, should be pretty warm. Rain showers likely, and south wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. All across the region, 73 in Ripley, 71 in Marietta, 70 in New Martinsville, 65 in Cambridge, 65 in Newark, and 63 in Columbus. So overall, pretty high temperatures. For the 7-day forecast, Sunday, 41 degrees, 20% chance of rain. Monday, 51 degrees, sunny. Those showers will push out of the area for Monday. And into Tuesday, 58 degrees, 5% chance of rain. Wednesday, 64 degrees, 10% chance of rain, also sunny. Thursday, 68 degrees, cloudy. And Friday will bring our first chance of rain for next week with 30% chance of rain and 63. Overall, the lows are not looking as low as they have been. 36 degrees on Tuesday night, 42 degrees on Wednesday night, 49 degrees on Thursday night, 44 degrees on Friday night. So overall, a pretty warm and clear week for our weekend ahead.
Thanks, Miranda. Physicians groups have long taken a stand against high consumption of sugary drinks in the United States. And now they're calling for several policies to limit access to sugar-sweetened beverages among children and teens. Meredith Wood has more in today's Health Minute.
Parents aren't the only ones concerned about how much sugar their kids are consuming. The American Academy of Pediatrics and the American Heart Association have teamed up, targeting the makers of sugary beverages. The two physician groups released policy recommendations for lawmakers across the country to encourage them to help reduce the amount of sugary drinks children consume. The recommendations include adding a tax on those beverages. According to the lead author, taxing these products would have the greatest impact. Other recommendations include a federal nutrition assistance program to ensure access to healthy foods, regulations that require added sugar content be listed on product labels, advertisements, and restaurant menus. An increase in childhood obesity and type 2 diabetes were among the reasons behind the changes. The American Beverage Association responded to the policy suggestions, saying parents are the ones who should be in charge of their child's nutrition. For today's Health Minute, I'm Meredith Wood.
Hi, I'm Thomas Garver. Coming up on Newswatch, Ohio football held their annual pro day yesterday. Here, a former Bobcat is embracing a potential position change, and then right after the break, the Ohio women's basketball team was trying to get to the women's NIT quarterfinals for the first time in program history. Highlights of the game when Newswatch returns. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
Is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
What are you doing?
Possibilities. Your day is filled with them.
Reach up, energy in the fingertips, collapse. TV, play Downton Abbey.
And PBS helps everyone discover theirs. Anytime, anywhere.
Up in the sky, you can see it.
PBS, we're with you for life.
Welcome in, Hardwood fans. Now, as you know, we've already aired our season finale where you see all these great people behind me who made our all-hero and all-future teams. But that doesn't mean our coverage stops. There are still a lot of teams in the playoffs and games left to be played. So if you want to stay up to date with all that and all the other TVC action, then go follow our social media. Like us on Facebook, add us on Snapchat, and follow us on Twitter. And always remember to be heroic.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at WOUB.org. And thank you.
Welcome back. I'm Thomas Garver. The month of March has been the month of milestones for the Ohio women's basketball team. Before taking on Western Kentucky for a spot in the WNIT quarterfinals, Ohio sophomore guard Cece Hooks was honored pregame for scoring her 1,000th career point. She added to that total early and often. Hooks with a steal like you haven't heard that one before, all the way to the cup for the easy two. Ohio got off to a fast start and led 19-12. Western Kentucky, though, took the lead in the second quarter, but Imani Burke's late drive to the 10 beats the buzzer. Ohio led 32-31 at the break. To the second half we go. Ohio trying to separate themselves. Erica Johnson, what a pass. hits hooks in stride, takes the hit, but it goes in anyways, plus the foul. Ohio heated up in the third quarter. Burke, check this one out. The bottom. And then Dom Dozick, we head to the fourth quarter. Look at this pass, the vision. Nice little bounce pass there to Gabby Burst. That's good for 2. And then Burst again, the dagger. Ohio wins 68-60. They're the first team in program history to win 30 games in a season.
Tonight was one of the better games that I think we've played in this gym in a while. I mean, they were good, we were good. They made some tough shots, we made some tough shots. I thought the crowd was amazing. I don't ever remember there being a crowd like this in my time here. And there seemed to be a lot of them, and they seemed to be engaged. And I thought the end of the game when the band was playing and our kids got to experience that, I mean, that's something special.
Ohio takes on Northwestern tomorrow night at 7 p.m. in Chicago. The Ohio football team held their annual pro day yesterday where seniors A.J. Ouellette and Poppy White stole the show. They kicked things off in the weight room. White's listed at 5'7", but the man can get off the ground. Watch this. Nearly gets to the top with that vertical jump of 40. And then Ouellette, beast on the bench press, making it look easy. Fast forward to you. Last push to get to rep 32. He got it. Over to the field house. Wouldn't be a pro day without a 40-yard dash. And White showed off that speed. That good for 4.43. Great day for some of Ohio's top prospects.
I'm taking it the same way I, took it here at Ohio University. I know one game they needed me at linebacker, so I played linebacker. So I was just trying to fine-tune all my skills just in case the team says, hey, can you be a slot receiver for us? And I'll go in there, willing to do it and hopefully be one of the toughest receivers in the NFL.
Now we end things on the diamond where the Ohio softball team had a doubleheader today. Ohio taking on Northern Illinois, bottom of the first. How about this? Mackenzie Brunswick returns from being injured. Nothing says welcome back like a grand slam. Ohio up 5-2 early. Then the defense making a play. Charlie Pond. She's going to lay out for this ball. Na-na-na, na-na-na. Then check this out. Brunswick at the dish again. That ball just shoots out to center field like a torpedo. 2 Bobcats coming to score on the double. Ohio up now 11-3 heading into the 5th. And then Maddie McGrady closes the door with this punch out. Ohio wins game 1 11-3, but falls in game 2 5-4.
Yeah.
Stephen, great weekend for softball. I know the weather's a little dicey. You got off to a good start. How about Mackenzie Brunswick, man? She's injured. She comes back, hits the grand slam, 2-run double, 6 RBIs in that first game.
Talk about being a hero on the diamond. And actually, we have a hero right now for Newswatch who helps out puppies in interesting places. A man in Stockton, California came to the rescue of a puppy stuck inside a storm drain Thursday. Jeremy Kabakang said he was driving around his old stomping grounds when he heard the puppy's cries for help. He noticed 2 puppies on the side of the road waiting anxiously near a storm drain. Sure enough, there was another puppy that had fallen through the narrow opening and couldn't get out. Jeremy stayed with the frightened pups while he waited on an animal control officer who was able to get a lasso around the puppy's neck and pull it to safety. Now Jeremy says he will be the first one in line once the puppies are ready for adoption. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.